Hi everyone, welcome to the Rangers Review pre-match briefing. Joshua and Chris here at Ibrox ahead of Rangers and Hibs. Rangers against Hibs in the Scottish Premiership. Rangers returning to Premiership's action. I think the last game they played here was against Motherwell, which was quite almost a month ago, near enough. I think it actually was over a month ago. Entirely forgettable. Nonetheless, we are here to discuss today's game. You can see the team in front of you. I'll read it out to you and we'll get to the substitutions, the Hibs team, and some of the key talking points. Rangers line up with Jack Butland in goals. We think it is a back four of James Tavernier, Dujon Sterling, John Souttar, and Chefday. A midfield three of Barron, Diamandi, and Raskin. A front three of Cherney, Dessers, and Eggman. The Rangers bench I'll read to you as well. It's Kelly, Balogun, Proper, Curtis, Danilo, Hadji, Bayrami, Cortez, and Ross McCausland too. Chris, it's hard to work out what formation Rangers are playing these days. I think that is probably a continuation of what they did in the second half at Dens Park last week. Fair?
I think the way you've got it lined up there, I think that's what we'll see from Rangers this afternoon. They have been tricky to predict. I know Barrie has spoken about the tactical flexibility of them. It was a big theme of Neil McCann's press conference when he spoke on Thursday. Actually, I thought he spoke really well, covered a number of bases, and that being able to change the system and being able to not just change the system from match to match, but change it in game. That was a big point that he was making, and actually gave the players quite a lot of credit for being able to take on quite a lot of information and be flexible in matches. Of course, if Plan A goes well, then you don't really need to revert to Plan B. So fingers crossed this is an afternoon where we see the Plan A for Rangers work effectively. And I think the way you've got it lined up there is going to be that Plan A.
Yeah, Hibs line up, Smith in goals. They are in their usual back five. Chris Cadden, pardon me, at right wing back. Nicky Cadden is injured. Miller, Bashiri, and Iredale as the back three, with Obita at left wing back. Levitt and Triantis in the midfield. A front three of Korechev, Boyle, and Junior Hoylett up top. The Hibs obviously 15 unbeaten, which is quite an impressive record coming into this game. Right, key talking points in, Chris, here. Václav Černý, I didn't think he would be rushed back for this game. I believe there was some discussion about whether he could, despite this hamstring issue, whether he could make the game at Dens Park, which shows that it's not serious. I still thought wrap him up in cotton wool and getting ready for the bigger game here on Thursday night. That's not the case, but he does bring he brings something to this Rangers team no one else has, an individualism, an ability to play on the wing. Yanis Hadji occupied that role in the second half up at Dens Park. I don't think that's his favoured position. So it's a boost for Barry Ferguson to have him back. Is it quite a risk as well? We don't know, I guess, but
I think it's a risk. I would have, like you, I told him to have the afternoon off.
Yes. Go and have a coffee.
Go and have a coffee somewhere, put his feet up, tune into Rangers TV, and then tune into the Rangers Review post-match and find out how things have been going. I think if you go for that shape, it perhaps forces Barry's hand a wee bit, because we know this is not a squad that is exactly blessed with a whole host of natural wide options. Even looking at the bench, Hadji could play off that side. Is not going to be as effective as Černý. McCausland is not going to be as effective. Bayrami is not going to be as effective. Oscar Cortez, who knows how effective he could ever be for Rangers. So I think once Barry kind of sticks on or decides to go with that shape, that almost forces his hand a wee bit. It'd be interesting to know his thought process this week. What came first? Did Černý say, I'm going to play, and then they decide on the shape, or they decide on the shape and then think, well, actually Černý has to be one of the guys that actually plays in that shape. I would be surprised if he gets 90 minutes. I don't think there's going to be a real need for that. Give him enough time just to keep himself ticking over, because as you touched on a couple of times there, Thursday night is what it's all about for Rangers this week. So I'm slightly surprised there's not been some more changes, certainly in the forward areas, with Thursday night in mind. Mentioned to Derek on the show a couple of times this week about Danilo. I would like to have seen him get a start ahead of Dessers, with all respect to Dessers and everything that he's done of late. I just think you wrap him up and you keep him for Thursday night. Hopefully the game goes in that manner where you could see Danilo, you could see Cortez, you could see Hadji, you could see Bainami, and you can then give like Czerny, Dessers, Igaman a bit more of a breather, because I say Rangers, they will say all the right things about the focus being on this game and the importance of it, but everyone that's here this afternoon knows what the bigger picture and the most important part is.
Yeah, agreed. Right. We should also say that this video is brought to you by our sponsors at S1 Jobs. If you're looking to hand in your own transfer request, all the relevant links are in the description for thousands of jobs across the Central Belt. I want to look at a couple of more pessimistic views in the starting 11, okay? No Clinton Ciala. I know he's had struggles, but I still think Rangers should be playing more young players between now and the end of the season. Aside from that, Chris, I'll read out a few comments here. Jamie says Hamza isn't a winger. He wants to know where Oscar Cortez is. I presume that what will happen is Igaman will kind of occupy that narrow spot and allow Jeffrey to overlap, which worked relatively well in the second half in Dundee. But he isn't a winger. He's a number 9. No. And this is the argument that we made at the start of the week. It's like Bluebells are blue here saying, surely Danilo behind Igaman is the best forward line we have. Barry Ferguson has got results so far, and he needs to get results. He'll want to stay here long term. You know, the best way to achieve that is by winning. But I still think that you should be seeing more of Igaman at centre forward. And I'm saying that, Chris, not in terms of are Rangers going to win the game or are they not, just in terms of the long season and developing your best assets. Fair?
I think that developing assets point, and it's a point that we made in a couple of videos when Barry got the job and the weeks after. He's not here to develop assets, as you've touched on there. He's here to win games. He wants to leave. If this is going to be his only crack at being Rangers manager, he wants to have the best record possible. He's not here to, in his mind, I would think, he's not here to try and keep people happy, to give younger players game time if he feels that they don't merit it. You could say Inshallah should be playing today. You should say, well, Finlay Curtis should be playing. You could be giving another one of the academy players a spot on the bench. All of those points would be fair. Barry will counter that and say, I've got a game to win, and that's the best side that I think is going to win this game, and that is one of the downsides, if you like, of Barry as manager. And it's no disrespect to him. It's not a negative towards him. It's just a factor of the situation. He's here to win games for himself, for the club, for the squad, for the support, obviously. But he's going to pick the best side as he sees it. That's not necessarily the best side for Rangers heading forward, because as you say, you need to develop Igaman as a centre forward. You need to develop Inshallah as a centre half. Inshallah is not going to develop by not even sitting on the bench this afternoon, sitting in the stands. So it's a byproduct, if you like, of the situation that Rangers find themselves in.
Yeah, just finally, Scott saying, what is the deal with Cortez? I believe Cortez is fit now and has, we spoke about it on the podcast yesterday, played well in the bounce game against Crystal Palace before the international break. Now, there's another side to this that take time to get him back up to speed, maybe even with a view to next season because of what this year has been like. But that is the Rangers team that lines up to face Hibernian, as you can see it in front of you. Lastly, probably going to be Tavernier at right back and Dujon Sterling at centre back again. I thought you might see Dujon Sterling, given the minutes that he's played this season. I thought you might just see him kept for midweek. Again, as we touched on before the show, Hibs are the most threatening team from set pieces. They've shown that against Rangers in previous fixtures this season. Do you think it's going to be Sterling right centre back and Tavernier right back again?
I would imagine so. I think Tav has done a job. He's looked fairly comfortable whenever he's played centre half. I think we may well see him play centre half again. Interested to see how Rangers decide to go on Thursday night. We know the threat that Athletic have going forward. So is it a Tav at right back? Is it a Sterling at right back on Thursday night? I think the way we've got it lined up there is how we'll see Rangers go. A lot of focus on how Rangers operate defensively this afternoon. Spoke a bit about the clean sheet record of late. It's not been good enough. Now, John Strutter addressed that in his press conference that was on the site yesterday. Rangers cannot afford to keep losing the type of goals that they're losing and losing them in in like clusters. You can't keep giving teams a 2-goal head start. They've got away with it in certain matches. They're not going to get away with it on Thursday night in terms of the tie. So a clean sheet this afternoon would be a real boost for them. It's a back four that's capable of getting one. It's a front three that's more than capable of going and winning the game. I think a result and a performance would certainly put everyone in a good frame of mind heading into which is, as we've said, is the game on Thursday night.
Yeah, Jack Butland's 100th game as well for Rangers today. So Rangers.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, Rangers on the back of 4 home defeats at Ibrox, so definitely need to turn that around ahead of Thursday. We'll leave it there. We'll of course be with you at some point after the game. Stay up to date with us through our social channels during the game, and remember to subscribe to the website and the YouTube channel if you have not done so already. But until then, thanks for joining us, and we will speak to you after. Bye for now.